With every gacha game, there's always a certain community of people that will die for their mains. Now, I don't blame them. Look at these characters. I would die for them. I would go to war for them as well. Now in this video, instead of going over what characters are the best and who you should build, I'm gonna highlight some, I think, in my personal opinion, underrated characters that I think are still playable, because after all, this is a single player game. So play who you like. If you like them, you can play them. They'll probably be good enough. And so hopping straight into it, I'm gonna start with Asta. Now, Asta is a character that's been seen in a more positive light lately, especially with people clearing World 6 in Simulated Universe. Asta is a very key character, simply because she's an amazing single target Firebreaker. Asta's skill allows her to break the enemy's shield very fast, and also on top of that, she has her buffs with attack and speed. So overall, I think she's just a great unit. A lot of people are seeing her potential now, but I think at the beginning she was underrated, and if you still don't know about her, well, there you go. She could be great in your fire breaking scenarios and can buff your fire DPS if you play Hook or something like that. The next one I want to point out is Pella. Pella is also underrated, and people see her capabilities as a defense shredder and a buff remover, but I don't see a lot of people play her as much from my personal experience. Now, what makes Pella so good? Like I said, defense shredder, buff remover, and she can also decrease enemies' ice resistance, which means that you can run her with an ice DPS such as Yanqing, and they can deal a lot of damage. Now, it should be noted that Pella isn't the best at AoE situations because she can only remove a buff from a single enemy at a time. Same with her ice resistance reduction. Her defense shred is AoE, which can't make up for that fact because defense reduction is huge, but usually she really shines in single target against bosses. Now, because of her single target capabilities, I think she'll be really good in boss fights, which might be what we'll see more in the future as the game progresses, so Pella could get better indirectly off of that. It depends on what enemies we'll face in the future, how the Memory of Chaos rotations will be. Will it be more single target focused or more multi-target focused? We'll see. We don't know. But if it does, then Pella can shine even more if it turns into single target. And with that, if you like Pella, I think you should absolutely build her. She is kind of a niche character, but the good thing about niche characters is that they excel in their niche, and that's what Pella is good at. The next one is one that's going to go into the more underrated territory, more than the previous two, and that's Arlen. I think Arlen will be a very good character in the future once we get very high levels. Now, not everybody is at max level yet, so we'll see when that comes. Not even the whales are at max level. They don't have the best relics. They don't have maxed out characters, maxed out traces. At least I don't think they have it unless someone spent a lot of money. Even then, I don't think they're there yet, but once we get there, we'll find out if Arlen is truly good because he sacrifices his HP. And right now, with everybody at a lower level, Arlen will just die because we don't have any stats to compensate for his lower HP. We don't have ways to protect him. His HP isn't that high because, well, we're challenging content more difficult than our current level. So once we catch up, we'll see how good he truly is, but I think he has potential simply because once we get the stats out, he can deal a lot of damage and he saves your skill points, which is good for skill point economy. Next up, we have Sampo, and I think Sampo is a very good windshield break unit, especially in single target, and he is also pretty skill point efficient as well, simply because you can use his normal attack once you get those 5 stacks of wind shear to just keep those 5 stacks up. And if you ever need to shield break, you can use his skill, but you don't have to. His dot isn't that bad either, so he can deal a lot of damage over time and he can break the shields pretty efficiently. And last but not least, we have Hook. Now, Hook is, I think, in a good spot right now because she's a 4-star destruction unit. She does a decent amount of damage up front and through her birds, which she will apply pretty regularly. And speaking of, if you ever need a fire DPS, Hook will be the one for you, especially since she's a 4-star and, you know, there's some content later on that will appreciate a fire DPS, and Hook is pretty much the only main fire DPS besides Himiko, but she's erudition, and erudition characters right now aren't that great. Maybe in the future they will be, especially when Jing Yuan comes out in his light cone. His light cone's busted, but currently Hook is your go-to fire DPS right now, so if you like her, then go ahead and play her, and she won't be that bad simply because she does decent damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, play whoever you like. I'm just going over these characters simply because I think they're underrated and they can still be played. They might not be the best, like Sila levels or Bronia levels or Tingyun levels. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that every character can be playable. Like, sure, you can even play Chingcha. All you have to do is just get lucky. It's not not that hard. Just get lucky. If you're not lucky, well, get luckier. Simple as that. Overall, every character can work. You can make them work, especially in the future when you get better relics. Your good relics can compensate for the bad base stats your character has. Because once again, it's a single player game, and Hoyoverse is known to have not the most challenging content, and it's more of a story focused game. Whatever you want to enjoy, enjoy. That's about it. Okay, bye bye.